up there, and then this will just be in the computer. So if you don't want to see it, I'll leave it there. That way when you
So we're doing
need it, it's in there. Yeah, so this is just showing, so people at home can see this right now. Anybody watching live stream? And this is in the preview, so whatever when you say, yeah, it's good, and then at that point I can take that and move it over. It's going to be a fucking screen too.
While we're gathering, can I invite the new commissioners and exec members to just come forward? So people are slowly making their way back. If you're a commissioner or you're on the executive, can I invite you to come forward, please?
Yeah, everyone.
All the exec members, all the commissioners.
You're at a commission. If you're on a commission for the regional council. This is for everybody. Use this. We just need to turn it on. Yep, it will be as long as we'll hear it here. Can we have the handhelds?
Thank you.
Oh no, when you talk this way.
Are there other members of the executive? Did you say the commissions?
Yes.
Members of the commissions. Any
If
members?
you're on Horseshoe Falls, Congregational Support, Discipleship and Justice, or the executive, please come up to the front right now.
So that's you, Ted. Yes, come. Deb, Barb, come. That's Jane Capsick. Yes, she made his hair somewhere. I imagine that some persons, those who are not here or would have left, and we want to get this done. So this is a covenanting with the exec and the commissioners for the next period, and it's a simple, straightforward. Your response is simply going to be, we do, God being our helper, and at that time I will let you know when that is. Members of the executive of the Congregational Support Commission of the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council and of the Human Resources Commission, of the Disciples and Justice Commission, do you take up the responsibilities and privileges of leadership in our Horseshoe Falls Regional Council, committed to the deepening of our commitment to Jesus and to employing God's love in the world as we connect, support, and transform the communities of faith within our bounds? If so, please say, we do, God being our helper.
See you, Jeff.
We do, God being our helper.
I ask the regional council members here gathered, and here those who are on Zoom, friends, do you commit yourselves to uphold the leaders in prayer, engage them in respect, trust their intentions, and seek their counsel? If so, please say, we will, God being our helper.
We will, God being our helper.
May God give us the strength to fulfill the promises we have so wonderfully made today. Bless you. Bless you. There's another covenanting that we will do. This is with the LLWLs who are present. And there's going to be a slide as well, slideshow. And for each candidate, Heather, who is the chair of the resource team, will say something about each before we get into the act of covenanting.
Hello, everyone. I'm Heather King. I am an LLWL. Licensed lay worship leader, for those of you who need more of an explanation. Our committee is responsible for receiving applications from people that have completed the courses set out by the United Church of Canada, which are all online now. It is a bit of a timely task to complete the courses, because once completed, then they must also complete the requirements under the United Church to take the racial justice courses as well as personal boundaries and complete a few other items. So even though you might have completed courses, some of us more than 3 years ago, it's taken this amount of time to get through the paperwork and the process. So we're very happy today to be presenting 4 new LLWLs that are going to be representing Horseshoe Falls. The first is Cheryl Dillon, and Cheryl tells me this is a bit of a homecoming for her, and she was very active in this church at one time. Currently, she is in the Trillium United Church in St. Catharines. You can see she has a very extensive background in social services, and she's been also involved in Employment Ontario. And from our interviews with Cheryl, she's very compassionate about going outside of the church and bringing the community in, and has done a lot of work in LLWL roles as well as pulpit supply in a variety of churches in her community. So you can see the other things that she's involved in. Cheryl, I invite you to come forward. And we'll have our next slide. We'd also like to introduce you to Lenore Gellick. Lenore is newly licensed, and she's a member of the Bethel United Church in Port Colborne. She has a background in healthcare. I think that's the thing about LLWLs. We've all been other places and then landed up coming back to maybe where God has been calling us all along. She's involved in healthcare, as well as she has a personal aid worker diploma, compensation representative, and computer operator. And Lenore has also joined the resource team, so she's one of our new members. Lenore, would you please come forward? Our next slide is for Cheryl Henry. Unfortunately, Cheryl wasn't able to join us today. She is representing Sheridan United Church in Mississauga, Ontario. She's a retired teacher, so she has that teacher voice from the pulpit. She's served in a variety of responsibilities in her own church. You can see chair of worship, fundraising, transition team, and she also sings in the choir. And at a later moment, I'm going to ask Reverend Eleanor Scarlett to come forward and represent her and accept her license. And the last person today that we're going to recognize is Stephen Hurley. Stephen is also newly licensed within the last 2 weeks. We squeaked in so that we could have him be able to join us today. He is a member of St. Paul's United Church in Milton. He also is a former educator and has lots of experience as a podcaster and broadcaster. And he has worked in his church in a variety of different responsibilities, including worship team, church council, and facilitator. And he is currently, I think, on the transition team as they are going to be searching for a new minister. So Stephen, would you please come and join us? Here are your 4 LLWLs. We're going to open this covenant service with a hymn, and we will be singing, was on the screen there a minute ago, Deep in Our Hearts. So do you want to turn around so you can see?
We're going to open this.
So please join us.
The hymn.
Please stand.
And we will be singing. It's on the screen there. Deep in Our Hearts. So do you want to turn around so you can see? We're going to open this covenant.
We're each given particular gifts of the Spirit for the sake of the world. Your responses are going to be in bold and they're going to be projected. And your first response is, God calls all followers of Jesus to Christian ministry. In the church, some are called to specific ministries of leadership, both lay and ordered. Some comfort the grieving and guide the wandering. We pray together. Gracious God, by your Spirit, you lead us in the sharing of gifts. You draw us together in community. You inspire us through worship. You lead us out in faith and hope. Bless us as we recognize our licensed lay worship leaders, that we may always walk in your way and care for each other. Amen. Friends in Christ, all the baptized are called to Christ's ministry, both within the church and beyond it. Lenore, Cheryl, and Cheryl in absentia, which is being represented by Eleanor and Stephen. They all felt a calling to serve the church as licensed lay worship leaders. They have completed the educational requirements, and their gifts have been affirmed by the licensed lay worship leaders resource team and Human Resource Commission of the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council. Lenore Sherlock, Cheryl Henry, Cheryl Gillen, and Stephen Curry. I ask you and Eleanor, representing Cheryl, will you exercise your ministry in accordance with the scriptures and in the continuity with the faith of the church? The responses are there. No. Your response is I will. And I think all the responses are I will. Will you, with Christ's people, be faithful in prayer and in the study of Scripture, that you may know the mind of Christ?
I will.
Will you diligently perform the duties of your position within the polity of Horseshoe Falls Regional Council and the wider United Church of Canada?
I will.
I ask you, the members of the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council, will you support and encourage the licensed lay worship leaders who are here at work and in prayer? And your response will be, we will. We will. Please stand with me as we pray. Let us pray. Gracious God, whose Spirit has ever blessed the church with varieties of gifts of the work of ministry, we thank you that you have blessed us with gifts that enrich our lives together and strengthen our witness and service in the world. By your Spirit, we ask that you bless Lenore, Cheryl, both Cheryls, and Stephen. Guide them in their work through them, that they may support our communities of faith and work with passion, with faith within the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council. This is what we pray in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen. The certificates are going to be presented, and invite Heather to do so. Please turn facing. You may be seated. The LLWLs for Horseshoe Falls. An important ministry of our church is the Mission and Services, and we have Sarah Charters, who's going to say some more about that and our responsibility and role in helping this wonderful ministry to continue.
Good morning, everybody. It is so good to be here with you this morning and to be witness to the wonderful work that is happening here. And as I start, I want to thank each and every one of you for your leadership. You are what makes the church work. You are the reason that we are able to carry out such incredible ministry. So thank you. And as you go back to your congregations and communities of faith, please bring those thanks and encouragement with you. What I want to start with is that we are partners in this work. Actually, what I should probably say is my name is Sarah Charters, and I am the Executive Officer of Philanthropy for the General Counsel Office and the President of the United Church of Canada Foundation. 2 jobs, 1 person. And it's an honor to serve in those capacities. And we do, myself and the team and the Foundation's Board of Directors, want to be partners with you in the work of the church. And so we are always looking for effective ways to support you in your ministry. And one of the things that a number of you will be aware of is the program that is called to Be the Church, The Journey. It's a program designed to help communities of faith with their stewardship and to ensure that they are well accompanied and have the skills and support they need to do this work well. There are a number of congregations and communities of faith from this region that have participated in many of the different seminars, workshops, and programs that we have. They're on the screen, and I will read them. And I'm sure some folks from those congregations are here, and if you haven't yet participated in any of it, I would encourage you to speak to somebody to hear about their experience. So Sydenham Heritage in Brantford, Christ First in Mississauga, I know they're here, Eden United in Mississauga, Central United in Port Colborne, Westminster in Mississauga, Barton Stone, Mount Hope in Hamilton, Fenwick in Fonthill, Trinity, Beamsville, East Plains in Burlington, Norval United, Melrose in Hamilton, St. Andrews in Brantford, and Rockton, Sheffield. They can tell you all about their experiences. But for those of you who haven't participated or who were thinking, geez, tomorrow is Sunday, what am I going to do about stewardship in the service? I would offer you a couple of things that are relatively easy that you could do today, but more likely tomorrow. The one thing is as you're making the invitation for the offering, you can particularly invite PAR donors to review their giving and think about that in the context of what the ministry of the church means to them. You can send a thank you letter to everybody who's given so far this year. You can use one of the worship services that we have crafted that would help talk about stewardship and how it relates to discipleship. You can commit to sharing one example during the offering of the actions that you take, that the particular ministry of your congregation and community of faith during your worship service. And you can tell a mission and service story. And on the topic of mission and service, each year, Horseshoe Falls distributes grants, sometimes called mission support grants. You can hear that as mission and service grants, to various communities of faith organizations in this region. And so in 2024, $180,000 went directly to work in Horseshoe Falls through the Justice and other regional ministries, through 12 amazing organizations that your commission decided to support. And we are so incredibly grateful that this region raised over $1.4 million in 2024 to support our global and Canadian partners, to support our theological schools, Indigenous ministries, and the strategic plan initiatives like the Youth Climate Motivators, Youth Leadership, and a number of other things that are helping us move into the future as a church. We are still producing weekly mission and service stories, and you can find them on our website in one of our newsletters called God's Mission, Our Gifts, and we put them together for you every week on a variety of topics. And if you go to united-church.ca and search Mission and Service Stories, they are all there for you, and they're tagged so you can look for ones that are particular to something that might be most interesting to your congregation. And so it's one thing for me to stand up here and say, oh, mission and service is great, and it does great work, and let me tell you this story, but it's even better when folks who are living those stories and working those stories are able to speak. And so I've invited a couple people to join me today. The first is going to be Jess, to talk about what the mission and service grants that Delta United received from the region have made possible.
You see me. Still on my tippy toes. Hello, everyone. My name is Jess, and along with being equity support for today and a member of the Discipleship and Social Justice Commission, I am the minister at Delta United Church here in Hamilton. I am so grateful for the opportunity to speak today about the ways mission and support grants through Horseshoe Falls Regional Council have made a real, tangible difference in the life and ministry of Delta United Church. So thank you for your generosity and shared commitment to mission. We've been able to sustain and grow two important areas of ministry that extend far beyond our sanctuary walls. The first is Edith's Pantry, our community food bank, which opens its doors every Monday morning. But let me be clear. Edith's Pantry is not just about food. It's about dignity. It's about welcome. It's about meeting people where they are with compassion and grace. When families come through the doors, they are greeted by volunteers who don't ask for an explanation, just a name and a smile. There's no judgment, no stigma, because we all know that life happens and we all need to eat. One family came through our doors last year to access the pantry, a family who had 3 kids and one of those little ones having some health complications, and they were about to be busier with one more on the way. This family had their hands full. They came to Delta looking for help with food, but Delta saw the extra need for baby items. So the call went out and in came diapers, onesies, and some toys. A family who never had stepped foot in the sanctuary was surrounded by love just the same. The beauty of this ministry is that we are helping to take away one big worry, putting food on the table so that people can focus on other parts of their lives. Whether that's raising kids, caring for aging parents, looking for work, or just surviving the relentless stress of the cost of living. We are doing what the church is called to do: feed people, love people, and show up with open arms. And we couldn't do it without mission and support funding. The second project funded through this grant may seem a little unusual, but I think it's one of the most beautiful expressions of what it means to be church. With your support, we were able to purchase secure storage containers for the many community groups who use our building, groups like Girl Guides or the Adult Day program, and others who rely on our space week after week. At first glance, it might just look like a practical solution, but it really is hospitality. It's saying you belong here, your work matters, you are part of this community. We believe that church isn't just what happens on Sunday mornings. It's the sacred work of community, of connection, of creating spaces where everyone feels they can show up fully and safely. And these groups, these neighbors, are living out our mission of being welcoming and inclusive just by being in the building. They are doing church, even if they don't call it that. So on the behalf of the volunteers at Edith's Pantry, the community groups who now have safe places to store their supplies, and the whole congregation at Delta United Church, thank you. Thank you for believing that food is ministry. Thank you for recognizing that hospitality can look like bins in a community room. And thank you for reminding us that the Spirit moves in pantries and classrooms and community halls, and that church is, believe it or not, alive and well.
Since we're ahead of schedule, I am not sure if oh, yes, yay, please come forward. Thank you. From the Hamilton McMaster Chaplaincy, my apologies. We have Marlise.
This is a really nice reception for a Saturday morning. Thank you very much, Sarah, for inviting me here. I've had the privilege of serving for the last 2 school years as the interim ecumenical chaplain at McMaster Campus Ministry. This particular ministry will celebrate actually. I was chuckling because we're the same age. The ministry would be in existence for 50 years come 2026. And for almost the life of this ministry, it is the United Church that have been the pioneer behind the McMaster Campus Ministry Council and its work. I don't know if anybody in this room know who John Cameron is, but John was the first person to help pioneer the work that is currently still happening 50 years next year. So the funding, we depend on friends of MCMC, so those are people in the community, those are staff from McMaster, those are past people who the ministry have impacted to help grow this ministry. But most importantly, most of our funding comes from the United Church of Canada, the Presbyterian Church of Canada, and the Anglican Church. All synods contribute. Lots of our funding help see the work through. The students at McMaster are lucky in that there's one particular program that actually helps students, and we know that students are always hungry. It doesn't matter what age you are as a student, they're always hungry. So our pioneer program is the soup program. So each week on Wednesdays, a soup lunch is provided. And the slogan for this lunch is to pause in the middle of your week, in the middle of your day, and break bread with friends. This particular program, the soup program, it was renamed a couple of times. It was first called Soup and Salah, then it was renamed to Soup and Spirit. Despite the name of this program, one thing that is common, that is building community, building friendship, but most of all, it's the most simple, organic way to spread the love of God. We have students it's a multi-faith gathering. We have Muslim students, we have Jewish students, we have Christian students, we have non-believers, all come, and in one thing they say, I feel so welcome, I feel so seen, and so amazing, strong bonds of friendship are built from this one program. And that is one of the most important program that the mission support funding have helped us to push through. The mission support funding also, in the 2 years that I've been there, one of the things that we recognize, and everyone sitting in the pews today know this, the mental health situation among all of us, especially our young students, is rising every single day. And one of the programs that I was able to actually start is the Wellness Week program. The Wellness Week program is about 4 or 5 activities throughout the week that I collab with other student groups across campus, and build that relationship, because there's always spirituality and my nutrition, spirituality and how I study, spirituality in my needs and home and everything. So this collaboration helped the students to be seen, help us, the ministry, campus ministry, to let students know that we are there and what we can do for them. So in the month of February, for 1 week, we sponsored several different collaborative activities. One was an upcycle tote bag painting. So we had someone in the community who took old jeans and created tote bags out of those, and we invited the students to come together and paint those and have conversations on what it means to just let go, and what it means to create a clean environment, and what it means to have a place that you can be yourself. The other activity within that week was also a meal prep. We recognize, like I mentioned earlier, students are always hungry. But one of the things, they're hungry, but not all the time understand how simple and how affordable preparing a cheap meal can be. So that was the target for that week, where we show the students, this is how you can take $20 and get about 4 meals, which can feed you for probably maybe 3 days. And that was a collective, collaborative effort with the Food Collective, or the Food Bank at McMaster. And the last and final activity within that Wellness Week was pretty much a DIY hand cream making. So pretty much taking simple ingredients, 3 simple ingredients, coconut oil, aloe vera, and glycerine, mix those together and you get hand cream. It's simple, and you might be thinking, what's that to it? But in gathering with the students and allowing them to just be and have conversation, non-believers asking Christians what it is like to be a Christian, Christians asking Muslim what is it like to be Muslim. But there was no pretense. It was not a pretentious environment. It was simple and organic. And to me, that is what chaplaincy does, spreading the love of God in very simple, organic way. But we cannot do that without the funding, because each of these takes time for us to do. Our entire council is made up of volunteers. There are probably about 15 of us. It's made up of faculty, staff, and students. We try to build a council primarily with more students, because we really want to hear the voice of the students make the decision on how they are served. The Mission Support Grant have made all of that possible. And the last and final project that we were able to launch in this year, that we hope to continue, is an observant for Black History Month. So we transformed the hallways, 3 of them leading away from the chaplaincy, maybe each hallway is probably about the length of this walkway out to the back door. And we curated art from students, from the student group. So we had Black students who are Muslims, we had Black students who are Jewish, we had non-Christian students and Christian students, and an external artist who brought art in for that 1 week. And over 5 days, the art was displayed in the hallway. There were both religious and non-religious art. And that, again, was a conversation that we ended up, one student asked, so, I didn't know that Christians can paint. So my reply was, yeah, I'm actually surprised. Christians can also walk. No, that was not my answer. But I said, yes, Christians are people. Christians are just like you and me. And yes, we paint. And if anything, we are some of the most fabulous painters. And I want to leave you on that note. The chaplaincy job, McMaster Campus Ministry, in its existence for 50 years, have done nothing else than paint. Paint the love of God throughout the campus in every and any situation we're called to. We've painted the beauty of Jesus. We have painted the sacrifices of Jesus. Most of all, we have painted the oneness. Despite our differences, we are one. And that is the message we always give to the students. But none of this is possible. We have the canvas, but the paint and the brush comes from funding like the Mission Support Grant. Thank you.
What amazing work. What amazing work. And that's only 2 of the programs that you funded. I thank God for the people doing this work and for the people supporting it. So thank you all. I'm going to switch gears now, put on my other hat, my United Church of Canada Foundation hat. Some of you may not know the foundation, but we've been around for almost 23 years. And we were created to think about the future of the church and what it financially would need to be sustained. And so we really focus on fostering deep spirituality, bold discipleship, and daring justice through the attraction and deployment of financial resources. So we're in alignment with the call and vision of the church, but we have our own special little space in there. And since the beginning, we've been thinking again about how best we can walk with communities of faith and the people of the church to see that sustainable future. And we've come up with a number of solutions or offerings, and we keep coming up with new ones. But the ones that we are best known for are often our short-term giving, where people can give gifts of stocks and mutual funds to us, and we liquidate them and send them off to the ministries that the donors designate. That's $6 to $7 million a year, 80% of which goes to congregations and communities of faith. We also, because we're thinking about the future, are focused on long-term gifts like endowments and long-term trusts, and that comes from individuals and congregations and other communities of faith throughout the church. And because we have these assets that are meant for the long term, we think a lot about investing and how we go about that and what the best ways to do that are. Because of the generosity of the people of the church over the last 100 years, we have about $115 million that we invest for the benefit of the future. And I say that not to say, oh, look how great that is, that's a lot of money, but because that represents generosity, that represents hope and gifts for the future, and because it enables so much good ministry to happen across the church. Out of that 115 million, 110 million at the end of last year, we granted $10 million. $10 million for the work of the church. And part of what we do when we think about that is we think about, while those monies are invested, how can they also be doing good? And so from the very beginning, we've been very attentive to socially responsible investments, and now it's more often framed as environmental, social, and governance themed investments, ESG, some of you may be familiar with. And about 4 years ago, we added another piece of that, which is impact investments that are meant to have a very specific, positive social or environmental return alongside a financial return. So we want all of our work to be aligned to the mission of doing God's work in our ministry. In our impact investments, we want to complement and enhance our granting programs while meeting financial obligations and being able to say, yes, we can measure the impact that we have. And so, as an example, one of our impact investments is with Raven Indigenous Capital, and they support the work that we invested in through them supports Indigenous entrepreneurs. So it's a way to contribute to economic reconciliation. We also have invested in a group called Windmill Microlending that provides loans to newcomers and immigrants who want to get their Canadian accreditation for whatever field they were originally accredited in. The loan repayment rate for that is 97%. The people who complete their accreditation, their Canadian accreditation, see their income go up by 3.5 times. And their employment drops from something like over 50% to under 20. That's a huge social impact alongside the financial return. I think, though, what we're best known for are our grants. We have a couple of granting programs, and this is also one of the ways that we are trying to be flexible in how we support the church, because while our Seeds of Hope granting program is the biggest one we have, that looks for projects that benefit the church, that we can learn from, that are innovative and encourage new expression of ministry, that will continue to have an impact in the congregation or community of faith after the grant is expended, and that will strengthen capacity across the church. That's our biggest one. And the next round for that will open in August. Deadline is October 15, so think about it. Think about what you might be doing that we could fund. But this year in particular, a little bit last year, we also added a sleeve of centennial grants to help congregations and communities of faith in their celebration around the centennial. We're experimenting with trust-based grants, which is a big buzzword in the foundation sector, but the church has been doing for a really long time. And so we're seeing how we might be able to make that work in the foundation. It's more about the relationship and the overall outcome and goal of an organization than a particular program. And we also have scholarships that support students in ministry and some professional development as well. What's occupying a lot of our time right now, and a lot of our thinking and our work, is the Centennial Legacy Campaign. Building on all the history and strength the foundation has, and at the request of the General Council Executive, the foundation took on the leadership of a Centennial Legacy Campaign as a way to celebrate all that the church has been and all that it will be. And so we're looking at how can we support congregations and communities of faith to speak with the folks in their midst about leaving gifts in their will. And the goal is to raise $25 million across the church, which is totally doable. It's for any ministry purpose, and most of that will be for congregations, which is as it should be. Strong congregations and communities of faith mean a strong church. And at this point, we have just over $7 million already confirmed, and the early adopting congregations are teaching us exactly what it is we need to provide and how we support, but it is pretty much a one-on-one accompanied program to enable congregations to really be able to pick up the work, make it as easy as possible for them. And so I would invite you to consider this your official invitation to participate as an individual, making a gift in your will for the ministries that you love, as a congregation who may already be doing some of this work, and just want to sign on so that we can all celebrate your successes together, or a congregation that thinks that maybe you could do this, because even one gift in somebody's will is one that you didn't have before. And so we're doing our best to make sure it's very little effort for you. And I do have a video about the campaign, so I'll let you watch this. Is one that you didn't have before. Our best to make sure it's very little effort for you.
Many of
and
us
I do have a
have
video
been a part
about
of
the campaign.
Our communities for a long time,
So I'll let you
and
watch this.
we value our communities. We value the relationships that we have invested in and been invested in us.
And I do have a video.
Our life wouldn't be the same if it hadn't been for our United Church community.
Many of us have been a part of our communities for a long time. And we value our communities. We value the relationships that we have invested in and been invested in us as part of being a community of faith. We have the opportunity to act in the lives of people.
Do we want to try again, or do we want to give people the link for later viewing? Give people the... Oh. Okay. Who had the Jeopardy theme before? One of the other things while the tech team works on this, or do you want me to just...
Sorry, we're getting feedback from the Zoom team as well, so we're not able to separate them.
Okay. Okay. So I will work with Mark and the team to be sure that you all have the link for that video, because it is, or you can go at lunchtime to centennialcampaign.ca and take a look for yourself. In closing, though, again, I want to say thank you to you for all the work. I also want to say that Jess and I and Marlise will be here over the lunch break if you want to chat with us about anything we've said. I didn't tell him I was going to do this, but I am going to say the Very Reverend Dr. Richard Bott is on the Foundation's board, well, we don't officially have representatives from Horseshoe Falls. He is your guy, so there you go. And just to tie in one more thing, the Foundation is also working very closely with the growth animators, like your very own Greg, who is here at the very back there, to see how we can also support that work going forward, that renewal and growth. So thank you all so very much. Happy to chat to you, and I do, in the dining room, there are some materials that you could pick up near the back if you are so inclined. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Quite a comprehensive overview of the work of the Mission and Service and the Foundation. Sorry we weren't able to see the video at the end, but I'm sure if there's need for any filler, then Richard will be able to give us some information there, right? we are good for time. I think we're about 5 minutes ahead of our schedule, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We have a few announcements to make, and I think Mark is going to do that before we break for lunch. And we want to invite Mark to do that at this time.
Use the, we'll use this one. This one's easier. Thanks, folks. So just in keeping with the theme of the day, our lunch just arrived, so it needs to get put out. Our lunch break will go until 1:15, so we have lots of time. But just, we just had a really nice snack too. But lunch is here, and it is just getting put out, so we'll just give a little bit of grace for that. So while we were waiting, there was a question earlier, and then I've had a couple people actually ask that it might be nice to remind us of who our General Council Commissioners are, and if they happen to be here, to be able to stand, and we have some time now, so we think that would be, because your lunch isn't ready anyway, so we think that would be good. So when I call your name, if you happen to be here, I'd ask if you're able to please stand. So these will be the people who are representing you in representing Horseshoe Falls at General Council in Calgary this summer, but then also serving on the General Council for their annual meetings until General Council is convened again in 3 years after that. So we have a mixture of lay and ordered commissioners. Ralph Heyman, Heather King, I know Heather's here. Stephen Thomas, I know Steve's here. Steve Loudon, Steve Thomas Loudon. It's in two things. I'm sorry, Steve. Steve Loudon. Karen Too Good Seagrave. Yvonne Wright. I saw Yvonne here, yeah. Young Suk Beck. Not here, okay. Tessica Hackshaw, who is one of our equity support members, but who had a pastoral emergency, so had to leave, unfortunately. So we still do have Jess, though, at the back. And our justice staff, Therese or John would be fine to talk to as well. Deborah Laferette is here. Martha Lockwood is also here. Alison McEwen, I don't believe is here at this meeting. Pat Tooley, Pat is here. Lennox Scarlett, he's here. We got him eventually, so that's great. Jess Swantz, who is at the back. And Jake Girton, I don't know if he's online. Okay, perfect. Wonderful that he's online. And then our president, who will, is currently president-elect, but who will be president when we have the general council, so that makes her commissioner, is Sula Kasaki as well. So thank you to everyone who put their name forward to do this work. Is great to have so many of you present with us here online or in person as well. I think percentage-wise, we have more commissioners for general council than we do for the ones for the regional council actually in our meeting here today. So that's great. We really, really appreciate your dedication and your willingness to do that work. So just a reminder again that in the lunchroom we have moved all of our display tables in there because we were able to find space, and so we're able to make it work. We will have a lunch break until 1:15. There again will be special dietary meals, so if you need that, you can ask Krista or Kathy Douglas, who are helping to set stuff up in there. And otherwise, just we'll be a little bit patient for everything to get set up. And I'll turn it back over to President Lennox to maybe just say a blessing before we go.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the gift of people that gather to do the business of your church. We thank you for all that we have accomplished to this point. And as we break now to have meals around tables, we pray that you may bless us as we have conversations and as we are replenished in our spirit and in our bodies. We pray this in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen. We resume at 1:15.
Make sure you visit and chat and have a great time, folks.
be the same if it hadn't been for our administration.
Many of us have been a part of our communities for a long time, and we value our communities. We value the relationships. As part of being a community of faith, we have the opportunity.
As a place
Hi, everybody. Have to make an announcement. So we're all really hungry and we're all waiting for food. Unfortunately, something has happened. It's not arrived. Part of the order has not arrived yet. There are some folks that are already sitting in the CE hall, but I want to make it clear, lunch isn't ready yet. So please be patient with us as our caterers try to navigate the traffic in Hamilton because of the link closure. As soon as everything's ready, we'll let you know. Thanks.
Our life wouldn't be the same if it hadn't been for our United Church communities.
Many of us have been a part of our communities for a long time, and we
Testing. Okay, folks. So, for those people who are in here, they're making the same announcement out there, so just stay here for a second and then you won't have to hear it twice. So our challenge with food is that our caterers read vegan for vegetarian and sent egg salad. So I don't think we have many people that actually ordered vegan. I know 2 of them are my staff, so I do care, but that is perfect. So if there is anyone who does need a vegan meal, please come up and see me and we will figure something out. That is not a problem. The other thing is just, so vegetarian is egg salad sandwiches. Those are on the same plates on the main table. If you ordered gluten-free, it is where the gluten-free snacks were by the coffee. And there are, the Caesar salad does have bacon, but there is a garden salad that is vegetarian, and then it is sandwiches, and it is ready. But if you do need vegan, come and see me, and we will help you out.
Was that lunch good or what? Yeah. Let's hear it for the caterers. That was good. And it's also good that you are back. We want to continue our journey through this meeting. And there is a message from the moderator. And that's a video message which is going to come at any time now. And we're hoping there are no hiccups as there were with the presentation before. And know that the tech team was doing some work ensuring that it would be seamless. So let's see what happens. This is a message from the moderator.
Greetings, siblings in Christ. It's my very deep pleasure to bring you greetings one last time from the Office of the Moderator of the United Church of Canada as you gather for the meeting of the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council. I wish you every blessing as you explore your theme of renewal and transformation, a season of hope. Friends, it's hard to believe this will be my last message to your regional meeting as moderator. I'm deeply grateful for the times I've been able to connect with many of you in person and online. I hope to see many of you at General Council 45 in Calgary in August. The theme of General Council will be Visions and Dreams, inspired by the texts from Joel and Acts, that God will pour out the Spirit on all flesh, that our children will prophesy, our young people will see visions, and our elders will dream dreams. In January, I hosted a national pastoral welcome to the new year, our centennial year, and to new church plant leaders. The evening was built around this theme of visions and dreams, a theme that lives and breathes and describes so clearly hope, for ourselves and for the future. These are days when it's not so easy to see where there's hope. The established norms of the world, of international laws and of long-standing trade partnerships are all topsy-turvy, upside down. The sand is shifting under our feet. We live in an increasingly secularized and individualized society. Even when people long for community building and to feel less alone, we remain increasingly polarized instead. There are now more dictatorships in the world than democracies. Where do we find hope in that? As moderator, I'm asked regularly where I see hope in the church. One of these places is among the participants of the Regenerate program, which is a leadership development program within the Flourishing Initiative. The participants are innovators and creative adopters of new approaches. They are deeply aware that in their leadership, they respond to a God who calls the church into being over and over again. They are visionaries and dreamers. They are ideas people. I think you might be too. As you spend time together during meetings this weekend, also remember that you are conceiving something new. Imagine the church as it could be, as it ought to be. 100 years has brought us to this moment. The next 100 years belongs to you and to the visionaries and dreamers. Because we are all called to be the church. Blessings on your work and worship together. Blessings in your call to be a church of deep spirituality, bold discipleship, and daring justice.
I'm always blessed by the words of the moderator. Comes with insight and wisdom, always timely. And the word message to us or for our meeting was indeed quite timely, in keeping with our theme of hope. Ron Ewart is here from the TUCC, the Toronto United Church Corporation, Council rather, and will bring short greetings. He tells me that there is no slide. We will just speak for about 2 minutes, and then we will hear from him. Yes?
Oops. Thank you, Lennox, and good afternoon, everybody. As Lennox was saying, my name is Ron Ewart. I'm from TUCC, TUCC, or if you want the long version, it's Toronto United Church Council. But as you'll hear, we're less Toronto-focused than we used to be, so we like to try and drop that word. Especially as now, I'm a Hamiltonian. I moved here a year ago, so... There we are, it took some time. So I was really glad the meeting's happening here because it took me 10 minutes from Queen Street North to get here, so that was good. I didn't have to go through the trials that Lennox went to. What I want to do is just to bring you the greetings of TUCC to the gathering today. I want to celebrate a growing relationship since 2019 when new regions were created. And also to make you a couple of offers that I'm sure you can't refuse. So it is good to be with you and to meet in person many of the groups with whom TUCC has been related, perhaps online or through loan applications or grant applications. We're an organization that offers a wide range of services from finance to property management to congregational consulting and support and fundraising. So we have a wide mandate, and a number of congregations and communities of faith and ministries in Horseshoe Falls have taken advantage of that. So it's really good for me as the executive director to see some faces connected to the things that I know that our staff have been doing. Yes, when the regional councils were formed in 2019, TUCC, which had its primary focus in the old Toronto Conference, decided that the resources that we have and the services we have should be made more widely available. So we followed some of our congregations that were being moved into new regions, and we developed relationships with Horseshoe Falls Regional Council, Western Ontario Waterways Regional Council, the new Shining Waters Regional Council, and East Central Ontario Regional Council. You'll notice I didn't mention your third partner in your staffing, Antler River Watershed Regional Council, but I'm hoping that is to come, and we have a big loan on the possible to get that relationship going. Over the years, you've had to come, we've tried to make ourselves known, but of course it's very difficult, I think, when you're outside the church sphere or the big church sphere, or outside the congregation. Who are all these organizations? What the heck is TUCC? If you really want to know in depth, there are a few of these folders still in the room next door, so grab one of those, you'll get the full range of services. But people have been discovering us. I wonder if there's anybody in the room who has received a grant or a loan. Anybody from East Plains around? There you go, put your hands up. You can talk to these people to see what the different ways in which TUCC can help you. Has anybody ever done a course on Church X? Church X was created and is run by Toronto United Church Council, TUCC. So sometimes, like all good organizations, we're servant organizations. We do things, we don't make a loud noise about it, but we provide the resources the church needs to be the church. So, We do consulting work. It's been great this year to be working in the Oakville area with our team. I mentioned East Plains. We've been helping them for a while, and we were able to help them again this year. And there have been grants and youth awards that you've applied for during the year. New Visions is one of them, which received a Centennial grant, which has helped one of their people with their education. It's been really good to be able to do these things. I want to tell you also that Horseshoe Falls has a role in running TUCC. Our president-elect, Ross Leckie, is a retired minister here in Horseshoe Falls Regional Council, and there are 3 other members of the board who come from this regional council area. So 4 out of 10 directors are actually Horseshoe Falls folks. So is it a Horseshoe Falls takeover? I'm not sure. But we are connected, and as I mentioned, I'm a New Hamiltonian, so I guess I should be transferring my membership from Shining Waters as a minister to Horseshoe Falls sooner rather than later. Mark's going, yeah, you should do that. It's automatically happened, I didn't even know it. So we are connected. We're there to work with you and support you. You have other organizations to do that, and we do that in cooperation with them as well. I was having a conversation with somebody this morning and I got the sort of impression that sometimes it feels like you have a number of organizations out there trying to support the church, but they're in competition with each other. No. We're there to work together to help the United Church be the best that it can. We are friendly people. Even when we talk about money, we'll have informal conversation, we'll chat about it, we work with you. It's not like going to a big bank. So please, if you find something in our brochures there that connect with you, just give us a call. We're always happy to talk. We like to think of ourselves as United Church people helping United Church people. So, the opportunities, just to round off. Some of you have already experienced the gift of being able to say thank you to your young people through the Bailey Youth Awards. Applications for this year's round, which is both, they get presented with a certificate, and more importantly, probably to the young person, they get $1,000 from this year onwards. That application needs to be in by June the 30th. And different congregations from Queenston across to Mississauga have been applying for those awards over the years. Please, if you have a young person that you want to acknowledge and say thank you to, here is a way to do that. Again, we want you to have a means of saying thank you, and that's why we created these Bailey Youth Awards. You can go to our website, www.tucc.ca, to find more details about that. And the last opportunity, which has a June the 30th deadline, is for something called the Vincent Alfano Fund. Vince Alfano was my predecessor as executive director, and that is a fund to support innovative ministry. So there is a grant of $10,000 available, plus $1,500 to enable some training for people who are behind that innovative ministry. So if you've got a plan, you just need a little bit more money to get a new idea through, please be in touch with us. There is still time and room for applications. Next January, you'll be able to apply for accessibility grants. We were able, the Halton United Church Extension Council was looking for somebody to steward their resources into the future, and we took on that role, and we were able this year to be able to create the first accessibility grants, which are only for congregations from Horseshoe Falls Regional Council. You can find all of that kind of stuff on our website. So, 2 short-term possibilities and 1 longer term. Do visit www.tucc.ca. Say hello to us that way, and at some point, please give us a call. I'll be happy to chat with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. This time I'm pleased to welcome Adrian and Jane, as they will give us some updates on what's happening with the Congregational Support Commission. And I'm sure it's going to be participatory as we see these blow coming now as well. It's horns. If you have not received one, just raise your hand and Adrian will get you. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Go right ahead.
Is this okay? Perfect. All right. When we use our noisemakers, Adrian, let's step away from the mic. Okay.
Hi everyone. I'm Adrienne Robertson. I am the outgoing chair of the Congregational Support Commission. I was there at the very beginning 6 years ago and have enjoyed my time with the commission, but I've been told I have to leave. And so you're only allowed 2 terms, and it's time for some new life and new breath. And so we have.
So I'm Jane Capstick, and I am one of the new co-chairs for the Congregational Support Commission. And my co-chair is Sean Bush, who is not here today.
Awesome. Thank you. We're going to have some fun today because we need to have a little bit of fun. And we're going to ask some questions and get your answers. And so we're going to use our little noise maker. So the first question is very easy. And those who are online with us on Zoom can react with an emoji. I think there's some thumbs up or some celebratory emojis on Zoom if you can answer the question. The first one I hope is easy. And I think, was it going to be up? Aha. How many here, if you know the answer to this question, you get to toot your horn. How many know what HFCSC stands for? Awesome, that's great. That's the Horseshoe Falls Congregational Support Commission, and we have a great group of people that we work with. Okay, how many people here belong to a community of faith that has a long-term lease with another organization, such as a daycare, another church, or a theater group?
That did not include squirrels or bats who are using your space uninvited.
So if you tooted your horn for that, no, that doesn't count. Did you know that the Congregational Support Commission is responsible for reviewing any lease agreement you have with another organization? We also encourage each community of faith to consult their own lawyers when it comes to entering into a long-term lease with another party.
It's really helpful for us to know what kind of leases and long-term rentals are happening across the church. We want to help you before things go sideways with your tenants. All right, next question. It's 2 questions, and just hold your honking for a minute. How many here represent communities of faith that have had a major property renovation started or completed in the church over the last several years?
Did you replace your boiler, fix your roof, update your kitchen, or turn your sanctuary into a winery? I'd like to know the winery representatives, please stand. Did you know that the Congregational Support Commission needs to review and approve any property transaction that costs more than 50% of your annual net income used for assessment purposes?
One of the things that we, your CSC Commission, love to hear about is congregations working together. This might include being part of a cluster of churches talking about their future shared ministry, or a shared ministry agreement where churches share ministry personnel.
So I'm wondering here, whose community of faith is right now in a cluster? A few, okay. Who has a formal shared ministry agreement? there's a few of you. That's awesome.
We understand that not all of our furry visitors today are appreciating the sound, so we're going to blow very gently for our last question. For most part, we see the communities of faith collaborating first and foremost by sharing a minister. But there are many other ways to work together, sharing administrative tasks, a treasurer, programming, youth and children's activities, outreach projects. The list is endless. If you haven't begun a conversation with a neighboring church, why not reach out and see how you might work together to be a beacon of light in your community? Last question. How many here represent communities of faith that produce an annual report each year?
I hope that was everyone. The Congregational Support Commission requests that you submit your approved annual report as soon as possible following your annual meeting. And it can be sent to our new email address. And I hope that it's on the screen for you. And so moving forward, we would appreciate any communication being sent to us through this email address. And our next meeting, we'll have one meeting in July, unless there's emergent issues, is July 18th, if you have any business that needs to come before our commission this coming summer. So that's it.
I have one more thing. Adrian, on behalf of all of the commission, I want to thank you for 6 years of work from the beginning of the region through a pandemic. It's been quite a time, and your leadership and guidance is going to be so missed, and we have a little gift for you too. So thank you so much for all your leadership over these last 6 years.
I'm going to move away a bit from the schedule and invite Diane Blanchard to come forward. Diane is going to talk a little bit about the United Network for Justice and Peace, and she tells me that's just for a minute or so, or 2 minutes.
We talk a lot about creating networks in the United Church. It was one of the dreams when we restructured. The United Network for Justice and Peace in Palestine, Israel, is a very active network of the United Church, of grassroots members who are concerned about what's going on in the Middle East. And we would welcome you to join by signing up for the newsletter or visiting the website, which is unjppi.ca. We've just created a new website. And if you're interested in helping people in your congregation learn about some of the history of Israel and Palestine and the way in which the settlement of Israeli Jews has changed life for Palestinians, and how that ongoing project of settlement is changing access to land for Palestinian families. We have something called the Palestine Land Exercise, which is an interactive storytelling, participatory exercise that's great for 12 to 30 people at a time. We have Palestinians who are trained to help facilitate that. If you have a group of people or churches that want to come together to do this experience, it takes a couple of hours or a little longer if you want to do something fun afterwards. So I put some cards out there with my contact information, and you're welcome to use me as a starting point to find out how you can do this. Thanks. Oh, and on there are 6 or 7 proposals coming to General Council this summer that relate to Palestine and Israel. It's really hard these days to keep up with what's going on. But these proposals are ones that we think are important. And so Njupi is offering a webinar on Wednesday, June the 18th. The information and the link to participate, to register, is in the last newsletter from Horseshoe Falls. So if you would like to take part, it's open to commissioners, of course, but also to any of us. Welcome to learn about what's going to go to General Council this summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. There are two other proposals, finance proposals, and these are proposals 3 and 4 for today. And I'm going to invite Mark to come to pilot those, and after which we go into in memoriam.
Hello once again, everyone. So we are going to, I had it preloaded. We're going to start with proposal number 3. So if you remember, at our fall meeting, we were going to have a conversation around funding, particularly things that could be done with some of the property funds that have come to the Regional Council, and we ended up not having time at the fall meeting to do that, so we had a separate session where we gathered people together and had ideas brought forward. We then had a small task group from the Horseshoe Falls Executive get together and take that information, and I was really hoping to have more than 2 proposals to bring to you. But as it happens, life gets in the way, and so we are still working, and we'll hopefully have some more. So please, when you're looking at these, don't think this is it. This is just what was the easier to get together quickly to make sure that some support can be out there and offered. And the hope is that we will have some more for the fall meeting to be able to offer more support for communities of faith in that way. So, proposal number 3 is proposing a bridge loan fund. So the issue and why the issue is important is the same for proposal number 3 and proposal number 4. So I'll go through it for proposal number 3, but then we probably won't go through it for number 4. So when congregations disband and sell their property, a portion of the proceeds does come to the Regional Council to be used to enable it to provide ongoing support and resources to communities of faith and for new church development. The issue is that this statement is vague enough to be able to do a lot of things, but it is also vague enough that it can become challenging to act upon. So this issue is important because as a regional council, we want to honor the legacy of those who have paved the way before us and to be able to continue to help serve active communities of faith. So one thing that the regional council could do would be, first we'll look at proposal 3 and finish that, and then 4, but one thing it could do is set up these funds. So the first fund is considered a bridge loan fund. So the Regional Council might create the following fund, setting it up with a transfer of $300,000 from the property fund. $300,000 from the property fund. Bridge loans to a maximum of $30,000 to be able to be granted out, with a maximum of $100,000 to be loaned out in 1 calendar year. The granting body and oversight would be the Horseshoe Falls Executive, with the executive to report annually to the Regional Council on how the funds have supported communities of faith with bridging loans. The criteria of the loans being bridge financing loans to a max of $30,000 at 4% interest to be paid back on a 3-year term, starting 6 months after the loan is received by the community of faith, those first 6 months being at 0% interest. There's no penalty if a community of faith wishes to pay the loan faster. If a community of faith has more than $100,000 in unrestricted reserves, then they would be ineligible to apply for this loan. Applications to be completed by a community of faith and submitted to the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council Executive. Before we open it up for any questions of clarification, the idea behind this is to help communities of faith when they are in short-term need of, as we've already with the CSC has talked about, a boiler breaks or a furnace breaks or there's a leak in the roof and it's going to cost $20,000, and your community of faith can raise $20,000 but not in 2 weeks. And so this then is an opportunity to be able to get some relief to help with one of those projects. Or perhaps you have funding that you have secured and you know you're going to receive this fund in a different fund in 8 months, but you want to start the project now. So you could get a bridge loan to help start the project, and then when you get your other funding back, pay back the bridge loan. There are lots of ways to utilize this, but the idea is that it is not a long-term mortgage. The entire loan would be paid back within a 3-year, 6-month period, if not sooner. So President Lennox, I'll turn it back over to you, and if anyone has any questions for clarification to start. Yeah. No, we do questions for clarification first. Yeah.
So the proposal is presented and before us. Are there any questions? Yes? Just say, Mark? Okay.
Mary Jackson from Linden Park. Are there any restrictions?
So the only restriction is that if you have over $100,000 in unrestricted reserves, then you would not be eligible to apply for the loan, because the understanding would be you would have money in your unrestricted reserves to pay whatever would need the loan for, and then could raise money to replace those. And then in the loan process, part of that would be also demonstrating that part of the application would be demonstrating that you will be able to pay back the loan over a 3-year plan. So, but there is no restrictions on what you want to use the loan for when you're applying for it. If you have more than $100,000 in unrestricted reserves. So as a regional council, we have some money that is in restricted reserves because it has been given to us for a specific reason, and that's what we use it for. So if you are a church and you have a memorial fund, that memorial fund is restricted reserves. Yes. So that can't be used for operating costs, it can't be used for just anything, so there would be considered internally restricted reserves of your church, so that doesn't count towards your $100,000. It's you have $100,000 in your bank account that is not actually designated for something that your church has said we must spend this money on this thing.
So just before that question, are there any online? No? Okay, go ahead.
How much money is in existence at the present time that's accumulated from property sales in the hands of the regional council?
At the end of 2024, there was approximately $800,000 in property money, but we did receive some money since then from a community of faith that closed. So I don't have an up-to-date, but the numbers that we're giving you for transferring, we definitely have the funds there. And again, our property fund is different. We have other operating money as well.
Next question. Yes?
Just making sure you recognize.
Yes, sure.
Steve Loudon, Coleraine Village United Church. Just wondering, Mark, there is a 4% interest rate mentioned here. Is it the intention of the proposers that that's 4% forever, or is that to be reviewed in light of interest rate environment in the future?
So, yes, I believe that the idea was we needed a number to start with, and as any, because these will become internally restricted funds, so Horseshoe Falls Regional Council are the ones saying what it is and what it is for. Horseshoe Falls Regional Council can make changes to that in the future. So through the executive or through a regional council meeting, if in 2 years, interest rates are 1% again to be able to borrow at, someone could make a suggestion to the executive or bring a proposal through the regional council meeting to adjust the terms of what we have. The reason for the 4% is this is money that we do have invested, and so while 4% is very well could be less than what you can get in some banking institutions, we also we wanted to be managing the money on behalf of Horseshoe Falls Regional Council well also, in that, last year our overall investment portfolio made like 19%. So by lending out money, it is possible that Horseshoe Falls will be losing a bit, which the executive is willing to do to help support. So that's where the 4% came from. If someone really doesn't like that number, once we're done clarifying questions, you can propose something to make the proposal better, and we can talk about that then as well.
Any other question? Thank you.
So then the next step is just to add if there's anything that people want to add to the proposal before we're in the formal debate process, it becomes much easier to do it now.
They're still clarifying. Is that a question for clarification?
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Rick Brown from St. James Waterdown. I'd like to propose an amendment to save you having to review that 4% on a regular basis, that you tie it to the Bank of Canada rate, 1% above the current Bank of Canada rate, and then it can adjust as needed.
Okay.
Okay,
Is a response to that? Are you going to respond, Mark?
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't right now because we're not in a formal debate process. That's why we're doing it right now, is you're making a suggestion, and then as the court, we can decide if we like it or not that's why we're doing it this way.
Yes, Stephen?
Just to make things simpler and keep the rates rounded, I'd like to suggest that perhaps we even use the official Canada Revenue Agency rate paid on refunds to corporations, less 1%, because I know it's currently 5%. Then that would allow us 4%, and it would move in round percentages rather than trying to find the Bank of Canada rate on a particular day.
Okay, so I don't mind either of these. The challenge that I have is I would also want to put into it, because we're not in the business of doing loans and trying to make this as easy as possible, that we would want it, whatever your interest rate was at the start of the loan, it's going to stay that for the whole loan, which is partly why, because I can't be, we can't be adjusting every month that now you're paying a little bit more or a little bit less. That's intended at the date of the loan. Okay, so,
Sorry, I'm just seeing Doug's hand. Is that
okay?
Just some information for you. It took me about 20 seconds to get the Bank of Canada rate today is 2.75. So the proposal from Rick is 3.75.
Okay. Thanks. Did you want to add something, Rick, and then we can ask for how people are feeling?
I'm quite happy to defer to my friend's recommendation, as it captures the same principle that I'm trying to get at in a simpler way. So I'd be happy to withdraw mine in favor of that.
Okay.
just as an amendment?
To change the interest rate, instead of being fixed at 4%, to be
2%?
No, it's intended to be the official Canada Revenue Agency rate paid on refunds to corporation and overpayments by corporations, which I believe is at 5% today, so 4% would be 1% less.
It is, okay, apparently it is 4% today. I had another hand at the back. President Lennox?
That's Jess, yes?
I have a question from the online portion, and I will just highlight that the online portion has a bit of a lag, so we're probably about 20 to 30 seconds above or ahead of what they're hearing online. So Deb is asking, or has a statement saying, my understanding is that the UCC Foundation has set 4% as the rate of return. Why not follow their lead?
Okay, thank you for that. So, what I was hearing, President Lennox, and as the person presenting the proposal,
so is that different from what?
It is. So what I'm wondering is, so we have 4% as what is the standard, what is in here right now. So, and Rick has deferred to what Steve had said.
Yes.
So I wonder if we can ask for, so this is would not be an official vote, but would be a warm, cool sort of thing for how do you feel as a community here, and then we'll have to get those online to show as well, and we'll have to wait for them to get that answer. But we'll assume that what's up here is what we have. So the question would be, are people warm to changing it to be the rate that the CRA uses for returns on corporations? That's what it is, right? Refunds for corporations.
Would that be something that the court would be in favor of?
So if you're warm to that idea, raise your hand.
Yes.
And if you're cool to that idea, the concept would be we'd be staying here, and then we just need to wait to see what online is for that.
Can we get a read from online as well? Are there persons responding online as well?
We just have to wait. Yeah, we just got to wait because they're 20 seconds behind us.
Okay.
So we just have to wait.
Sure. Which is this? Which is this? So that's a question.
The proposed rate that's suggested, is that, does it change?
Yes.
So therefore, the statement up here would have to indicate that.
100%. Yes, we would have to change what the proposal says if we adopt that.
And that the person would have to pay interest based on the rate, current rate of this institution at the time that they took the loan out. Because if it changes 6 months afterwards, no, it doesn't affect it.
That's correct.
That was what we were talking about, yes. How many people do we have online? Okay, so.
Yep. Leave it as is. So both the online and in-person responses seem to be suggesting that this remain as is. Is that what I'm getting? If you're in favor, can you just raise your hand?
Again, this is not an official vote, but just to just leave it the 4%. Okay.
That's correct. So we move now into the formal.
So now we have an official mover
yes.
and seconder, and then we enter the formal debate process where people can speak for or against the proposal.
You're moving?
I can move it, yes.
So the proposal has been moved by Executive Minister Mark. Is there someone to second it?
Yvonne has her hand.
Yvonne, that's a seconder. So
That's Yvonne Wright.
Yvonne Wright, seconded. So are there others now who want to make contribution to this? We're now in the debate process.
Yes, so we're now in the formal debate process. If
Yes.
someone would like to speak for or against the motion.
Point of clarification, is it at the same rate as Revenue Canada or 1% lower?
What we're doing is we're going with, the motion has been made to go with just 4%. So it is 4%, and then if at a future time 4% is either way too low or way too high, we can adjust that at a future time. The executive can make that decision, or we can make that decision at a regional council. But it is, we're not using a variable rate from anywhere. We're going to use just the straight 4%. No problem.
Any other? Yes?
It seems to me like you should set up, like it should be reviewed annually or something like that, and that should be in the proposal.
The proposal does have in it, or as part of the plan, that the executive will report to the regional council annually on how it's being used. So I feel like during that report would be a time that we can have the wisdom of the body to look at that. I think it's a good idea to set that, but that's why we had that in there as well.
Is that a question at the back? No? Any other? Doug?
I would just want to make sure this is more an implementation. I'm in favor of the motion, but Congregational Support Commission approval to request the loan is required of any congregation requesting a loan from anyone. So is this going to be in play here?
So yes, but because this loan is coming internally within the executive, and the chair of Congregational Support sits on the executive, we will definitely be in conversation as things come in to make sure that we get the proper approvals everywhere.
That's correct. So we have a mover and a seconder. And are there other persons who have a contribution to make to this proposal?
Then call for the poll online first so they have more time.
So John, the online, we're just indicating online, yes? And that's, you're saying a 10-second lap period? All in favor? Any against? Any abstention? And we will just wait for another couple of seconds. Good. Yep. That is carried. So,
thanks, John.
The second proposal will now be presented.
Sure. Yep, proposal number 4. Oh, don't need 2 mics. Okay, so thank you everyone for that. Our next piece in here is proposal number 4, which is grant searching and writing assistance fund. So again, what is the issue and why is it important is the same as before. And so what Horseshoe Falls Regional Council might do is the Regional Council might create the following fund, setting it up with a transfer of $100,000 from the property fund, the Grant Searching and Writing Assistance Fund. So the terms of reference of this fund could be that 50% of the cost of hiring someone to assist the community of faith in searching for and or applying for a grant, or I would assume that to be plural, or grants. This fund will support 50% of that cost up to $2,000. So just to be clear, it's 50% of a total $4,000 fee, so $2,000 paid by the fund. This fund also would support, you could apply for 100% of the cost
of training for a member of the community of faith to take a grant writing course. Again, the granting body and oversight would be the Horseshoe Falls Executive. The executive to report annually to the regional council on how the funds have supported communities of faith with, it says, my thing says bridging loans, but with this grant writing. The criteria is, again, a grant of 50% of the cost of hiring someone to assist the community of faith in searching for or writing of grant applications. If a community of faith has more than $100,000 in unrestricted reserves, they are ineligible to apply for this grant. If a member of the community of faith enrolls in a grant writing course, this fund will cover 100% the cost of tuition. So it wouldn't cover if they had to travel, but there are courses online. So it would cover the cost of tuition. And my understanding is, as that C is below the $100,000, that if a member of a community of faith whose that community of faith has over $100,000, they would still be eligible for having their course paid for. It is only if the community of faith is hiring someone outside and the grant would cover half, that's where the $100,000 in unrestricted reserves comes into play.
That's presented. Any questions for clarification? Yes.
Is there a maximum amount of tuition that will be paid for the course?
There was not a maximum set because the understanding was that most grant writing courses are going to be fairly similar in what their tuition costs are. So we did not set a maximum for that, but it is for a course, not a series of, it's not to get a degree or a diploma in assisting in grant writing. It's for taking a course to help your community of faith. And honestly, the hope is that, as we talked about, as Cassandra talked about earlier, maybe then they would be able to help other communities of faith in their local area as well.
So did that clarify your question? So, Mark, before you get the next question.
Yeah. So I think I heard what Heather said, and I can summarize, and you can tell me. Heather just was saying that she felt it might be dangerous to not have a maximum in there. So when we get to are there any suggestions, that could be brought forward then.
Okay. Is that a question online?
Sue online asks, can the course be taken at a university level and or college level? For example, a university course costs $400. I would say maybe a little more too these days, and a college course significantly less.
So yes, for clarification, it is a course. We're not, when devising the proposal, the team was not envisioning limiting what schools people could take the course from. But we heard before, there may be a maximum capped on that later, but it doesn't matter what school. Yep.
Maybe it was already asked, but can we take more than one course? McMaster offers a basic course, advanced course, and a certification for consultation course.
So what I would say to that is it would be have a conversation with the executive if you are looking to do that. Because currently we have a learning fund that anyone can apply for where a third of your learning up to a maximum of $300, and you can apply for that every 4 months if you want because you're doing a new learning. So I would say the concept of this is for taking a course, but if you want to demonstrate to the executive that, it's a 2-course set, perhaps they won't pay the entire fee, but there may be other grants that we have available to help with some of those as well.
Thank you. Is there another question? These are just clarifying questions here.
Yep.
Yes.
I also appreciate people keeping it to clarifying questions and not opinion. Thank you.
So can you just move now the motion?
Nope, first we're going to go to if there's any additions, because it's easier to do that.
Will that incorporate what Heather mentioned?
If Heather would like to incorporate something, then yes. Do you have a suggestion to make? Okay, we can do both.
When this proposal was being written, did you have a number in mind of the amount the course might cost?
Is that answering the question?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
The max was based on the courses at McMaster, which are under $500 in the $400 range for a university level course on grant writing.
So are you wanting to propose a maximum? Okay. So
To amend that.
yeah, so the proposal would then have, can we bring it back up, John? So what we would do is then at the bottom where it said cover the cost of someone, 100% of the cost of someone taking a grant writing course, up to a maximum of
$500.
$500.
I would recommend up to a maximum of $2,000. If we're going to cover the cost of helping a community of faith pay for somebody to write their grants up to $2,000, then the whole idea of supporting the 100% of covering the cost of somebody taking these courses is so that the region doesn't have to pay 50% of grant writing costs in perpetuity. It's a much better alternative to have somebody in your congregation, a faith leader or representative, take in your cluster, take a course, and now we have somebody who we can refer to in our community of faith or in the area to do that.
Okay, so that was a suggestion to have it be the same as what our 50% is of $2,000. I don't know that we need to do we can, if you want to do a warm and cool, we definitely can. The reason we were doing the warm and cool last time was because the suggestion was different to what we had. This is just adding a piece on. I'm very comfortable, and I know Gabby was part of the team, and I'm very comfortable adding that piece on of 100% of a grant writing course for a congregation member up to $2,000. I'm very happy to write that up to $2,000.
Well, just to get the feedback from the court. Yes.
Carolyn Duffus from Central and Welland. So there's kind of two different things going on here. One is that someone in a cluster is getting trained, but you might have 80, 60, 80 congregations. I don't know how many congregations we have, each doing the 2,000. So, I don't know which intent you're kind of aiming at.
So it does allow for both. We have approximately 145 communities of faith in Horseshoe Falls. I would be very pleased if someone from each of those places wanted to take a grant writing course. I'm very happy to pay for that, because that would be great. So I don't honestly, it's one of those, because taking the grant writing course is an investment in that community of faith's future as well. If we're not promoting the future, then we're in trouble. So yeah, you're right. It is two things, but that is also
if we get to that problem, I'm very happy to deal with that problem when we get there. President Lennox, I just need to...
That's Wendy.
Can we go? She had her hand up
okay,
first,
go
is that
ahead.
okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I was just going to ask how much is in the budget, but it sounds as if it's fluid.
Yeah, well, so this would be, we'd be transferring $100,000 over to start the fund. So, again, that would allow for 50 communities of faith to do this all right away. I would, again, be very surprised if that happened. But then with all of these funds is then up to, the executive, as more money comes into the property fund, the executive can then, again, as we're reporting to the annually how these funds are being used, can be reporting as to, oh, we have actually used a lot in this fund. There's not much left. We should transfer some more in. Like, that is always a possibility.
I was just really proud of myself 10 minutes ago because I thought I understood this. And now I don't again. So just for those of us who are not, or just too full or something, the cost if you did it at 2,000, that would be to cover the course plus that church's grant writing? I don't understand.
Just for the course.
So this proposal has two pieces to it. It has two pieces to it. If a church wants to hire someone from outside, from an organization that helps with grant writing, then this grant will help pay 50% of that person's fee to come in one time and help that church find grants. What this grant also has is so that's the first part. It can do that. Also, it has C, where if someone in the community of faith is willing to take a course to learn how to write grants and to learn how to search grants, then we will pay 100% of that cost of the tuition, up to $2,000, for the person in the community of faith to learn how to write grants, so the community of faith does not have to hire someone from outside to come in. Okay, so right now, just a reminder, we're not formally debating, it's do you have something to make this better, is what we're talking about right now.
There are two hands there, Yvonne and Eleanor.
My question is, if a congregation or a community of faith has someone do this course within a cluster and another congregation did not have that, could that person from the congregation that did the course help the community of faith next door who wants to write the grant?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So the hope would be yes. But that is up to the individual who took the course.
And the cluster.
And on how far they are willing to lend their aid. But the hope would be that, yes, they are doing that.
So I see Yvonne and then behind Doug.
Okay, so just for clarification, criteria C, would it be that if the congregation has over $100,000 in their unrestricted funds, would criteria C be able to apply?
Ineligible.
So we put criteria C under that because that is someone in the community of faith. So we're not assuming that the congregation was going to pay the person in the community of faith to take the course. So a congregation could have, I will also say, if a congregation has $300,000 in unrestricted reserves, maybe help your people out to take a course, right? But it does not, the $100,000 only applies for the congregation applying for the 50% of the grant when you're hiring someone in. The bottom piece is a separate part that $100,000 does not apply for, which is why it was below that in the listing.
Mary Jackson, Linden Park. Are we applying for a grant learning how to apply for grants to the United Church or anywhere?
Yeah, the idea is if you were, it would be for anywhere, right? And to learn, like, you know, and to learn, because government grants require a different kind of form writing, and so if you're doing a course, it would be learning how to get money from all kinds of different organizations that can come and help your church.
I'm going to take Doug as a last question for clarification before we get into the moving of the proposal and the seconder, then the vote.
Doug Caldwell, Stony Creek. Is there any consideration of creating a mechanism whereby if a congregation has availed itself of C, then they're not able to use A?
So, yes, I suppose that was implicit in the thinking that if you're doing C, you no longer need to hire someone because you're doing C. But that would also be part of, just because someone applies for a grant doesn't always mean you get it, as we all know. So that would also be the executive keeping track of, oh, we just paid for this person to do this course, and now that church is applying for this 2 years later. The executive would have a conversation with the church before blanketing approving. Maybe that person moved to Alberta after that time, right? Like, you don't know. So, or they may have passed away. So, we don't want to preclude it because you don't know what might happen, but the executive will be tracking and be paying attention to that sort of thing.
I did say the last question, but I'm going to allow the one online, and that will be the last one.
I love when I run, the little thing behind my ear makes a cool noise.
We just are going to pause for a second for our online folks to catch up on what has been happening. I believe we do have a question from Sybil Wilson. Sybil, I think I'm going to try and put you up to my earbud. See if this works. Can you project, Sybil? Okay, let's do that. That might be easier. A question from Sybil Wilson. Sybil,
yes.
I'm going to try and...
Thank you. Are you hearing me? Not yet. There's a little bit of a delay. Just 1 second.
Can you project, Sybil? Okay, let's do that. That might be easier. A question from Sybil Wilson. Sybil,
yes.
I'm going to try and...
Thank you. Are you hearing me? 1 second. Not yet. There's a little bit of a delay. Just 1 second.
Can you project, Sybil? Okay, let's do that. That might be easier.
We got two of them.
A question from Sybil Wilson. Sybil,
yes.
I'm going to try and...
Thank you. Are you hearing me? 1 second. Not yet. There's a little bit of a delay. 1 second. Just 1 second.
Would it be easier, just a minute. Would it be easier would it be easier for you to take the question and relay that to us? Would that help? That may help if you receive the question and relay the question to us. If we're having challenges with this, we may have to forego and move to the next section, which is ask for the formal proposal.
We got it.
Okay, Sybil is saying that the proposal is called a bridging loan, but this is more or less a granting proposal. Okay, I think it was just a question of clarification within where we're at.
Okay, thank you.
Fair enough. We are having some delays online. So, forcible, yes, we have already dealt with proposal 3 on the bridging loan, and we are on proposal 4 now, which you are correct is about granting opportunities.
And I think we're done with questioning now. So, invite you to, if there are any amendments to the proposal.
We've kind of done that. Oh,
Yes.
Jane. Okay, we're not there yet. No, we need a mover or seconder first.
Moving first.
I can move it.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, I will move this motion with the up to $2,000 for the cover of tuition.
And seconder? You're seconding?
Kim Shantz.
Kim.
Seconding.
So we move now into debate.
Yes, and Jane has
an opinion.
Jane Capstick, Trinity Beamsville. I really appreciate the intent of this proposal, which is to encourage congregations to seek grant writing. I do have concerns about us as a region funding one particular aspect and skill set within a congregation. I also feel that we already have the vehicle of the learning grants so that people can take courses, and I would prefer us to use a vehicle we already have rather than creating yet another way of applying for a learning opportunity. So I would vote against this.
Thanks, Jane.
Any other? Yes, in front here, Mark.
I'm just wondering why the council wouldn't do this online for all of us that are interested. I just wondered why that hadn't been proposed.
You mean offering an online course? Okay.
Yes.
So I believe that there have been some courses talking about this that have been offered on ChurchX. However, it is different on offering a course on ChurchX about explaining something and taking a university course. We are not. I am not a university professor to be able to it's a different. It is at a higher level to be able to do it on that way.
Any other question, comments, opinions? Or otherwise, we're going to go straight into the vote.
Okay, so we're going to need to call for the poll online and then wait a good amount of time.
Another 10 seconds. So, John, calling for the vote online.
Okay.
10 seconds, yes.
And then he can put the poll on.
Can just have the wording, the amendment? Yes. So the amended words are here. This is up to $2,000. Yes. Yes. Okay. Just tell me when you're good, John. All in favor? And you're voting in favor of what is projected here? Well, because I see a number of hands not raised, can we take a count? Let's take a count, please. Online.
John, can you tell me how many were in favor online? Yes, you can.
16. Those against?
Oh, I did a lot of counts.
Online is 4-3.
Okay.
3. Yeah. Any abstention? So this is carried. Thank you very much, Mark.
And we will have, the hope is to have more available in the fall. So if you have ideas of other grants that would be really, really helpful that are not offered in other places, please reach out to me.
The next 2 segments are video presentations, one in Memoriam, and then we take some time to honor those who have served us or retirees. Is there a video?
Yeah, they just gotta take a minute to make sure we don't get the feedback.
Okay.
In Memoriam. We remember and honor the lives of those who have departed from us. Their contributions and presence have left an indelible mark on our community. We remember them and celebrate the legacy that they left behind. David Dawson. David served as a GC 40 commissioner. He will be especially remembered for his work with the Conservative Party and Ryerson United Church. Shirley McDougall. Music brought Shirley much joy through her work as the music director at Westdale United Church in Hamilton and her participation in many choirs and organizations. Susan Stevenson. Susan poured herself into the life of Waterford United Church. She served in every UCW role locally and regionally at the presbytery level, and led Christian education and Sunday school. Reverend Dorothy Cunningham, OM. Dorothy was ordained in 1971 and worked in ministry throughout Ontario and Quebec until the early 1990s. Reverend Ward Kaiser, OM. A sought-after guest preacher, Ward worked with the Canadian, U.S., and World Councils of Churches, and served as a consultant in the education to the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of North and South America. Reverend Ted Leyden, OM. Ted worked as a United Church minister and was a regular worshiper at St. James United Church in Waterdown. Reverend Lewis Snow, OM. Lewis was dedicated to church work. Even in retirement, he always had time for weddings, baptisms, funerals, and support for grieving families or those in need. Reverend Kenneth James Campbell, OM. Reverend Campbell was honored to be ordained as a minister in the United Church. He served 4 congregations in Ontario: Fraserville, Royal York Road in Etobicoke, Parkwoods and Don Mills, and 26 years at St. John's United in Oakville. Donna Totten. Donna was dedicated to service as lay pastor of All People's United Church for over 11 years and was a devoted member of Central United Church. She also sat on the board of directors for Cave Springs Camp. Janice Gumpley. Janice was an employee at Grace United Church, Caledonia, and Fairview United Church in Brantford. She was an active member at White Eagle Center, Binbrook, Grand River United Church, Six Nations, and Chapel of the Delaware, Six Nations. Sarah Eileen Leffler. Sarah's deep faith and commitment to community shaped her life. She attended her first United Church General Council at 8 years old, and later served as a commissioner on several councils. She took on leadership roles, including serving as chairperson of Waterloo Presbytery. May we find comfort in the memories of our departed, and may their spirits continue to inspire us in our journey ahead.
Let's pause as a court to remember our brothers and sisters in prayer. Let us pray. The hymn writer penned the words, "For all the saints who from their labors rest, who thee by faith before the world confessed, thy name, O Jesus, forever blessed. Alleluia, alleluia." Loving God, in whom there is no shadow or change, we thank you for the gift of life eternal, and for all those who, having served you well, now rest from their labors. We thank you, O God, for the saints remembered and not forgotten, for those who their souls are most precious to us, whose time and energy, whose influence and impact mold many lives. Today we thank you that during their lives and their lives' journey, they remain faithful to you to the very end. So God, we remember David and Shirley and Susan, Dorothy, Ward, Ted, Lewis, Kenneth, Donna, Janice, and Sarah. We bless you, God, for their life and love, and rejoice for them that all is well, and all manner of things will be well. God of Jesus and our God, allow us as we journey on to follow their example to the best of our ability, to feed the poor in body or spirit, to support and comfort the mourners and the repentant, to encourage the meek and stand with them in crisis, to affirm those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, to cherish and learn from the merciful, to be humbled by and stand with the peacemakers. Let us clearly recognize what it means to be called to be the children of God, and to know we are to be your saints, neither by our own inclination or our own strength, but simply by the call of Jesus Christ upon our lives. So as we pause today in this meeting, we remember that there's a cloud of witnesses great around us, and we pray, O God, that you will grant us the serenity to continue this journey. We pray in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen. Those who have served over 25, 30, 35, and more years, we pause again to remember them as we remember our retirees and jubilands.
Celebrating retirees. Retired February 23rd, 2025, Carlisle Kilbridge Pastoral Charge. David Galston, retired March 1st, 2025, Eternal Spring Pastoral Charge. Laura Tanner, retired March 1st, 2025, Bowman United Church. Harvey Toby, retired May 1st, 2025, Stanford Lane United Church, Niagara Falls. Hart, retires June 15th, 2025, Lowville, Burling, Port Nelson Pastoral Charges. Eleanor Scarlett, retires June 30th, 2025, Sheridan United Church. Sue Cowan, retires August 31st, 2025, Georgetown Glen Williams St. John's. Robert Mark Winger, retires October 31st, 2025, Stony Creek United Church and Grace Community Church, Pioneer Memorial United, and St. Columbia Presbyterian. Catherine Kathy Phillips, retires December 31st, 2025, Aaron Mills Pastoral Church. Celebrating Jubilands.
I invite those who are here, the retirees, to stand to be recognized so that as a region we can give you the applause necessary at this time. Congratulations, congratulations.
Also, just so everyone is aware, in honor of our centennial, we're making a $100 donation in each of the retirees' names to Mission and Service as well.
The Jubilands.
McEwen, OM. Church. Celebrating Jubilands.
Just one moment, folks. They're queuing up another
years.
video.
Allison McEwen, OM. Amadeus Perales, OM. Barbara McGill, DM. Christina Crawford, DM. Janet McCormick, OM. Karen Orlandi, OM.
You folks see that?
10 years.
Celebrating Jubilands.
Etienne
Can you just
Lesage,
nod your head?
OM. Louise Hart, OM.
Kate?
Marion
You don't
Haas,
see it?
OM. Miriam Spees, OM. Sula Ann Kaseki, Crawford, OM. DM. Janet McCormick, 15 years. Donnelly Williams, OM. Lynn Hamilton, OM. Susan Cowan, OM. Wendy Loudon, OM. Marion Haas, OM. Catherine Dill, Miriam Spees, OM. McLean, Sula Ann Kaseki, Crawford, Jacqueline Byrne, DM. OM. Janet McCormick, 15 years. Donnelly Williams, OM. Lynn Hamilton, 25 years. OM. Barbara Moore, Susan Cowan, OM. Brian Howell, Wendy Loudon, Cheryl Crane, Marion Haas, OM. Catherine Dill, Miriam Spees, OM. Sula Ann Kaseki, Crawford, Jacqueline Byrne, DM. Janet McCormick, 15 years.
Should we just pause this, or you want us to go through this? Tech team, just advise us, please. Want to try once more?
Joyce Pierce, OM. Peter Cowley, OM. Elizabeth Agnew, OM. 35 years. Donna Howlett, OM. Gloria LeCompte, OM. Elizabeth Renison, OM. Neil Mosher, OM. Robert Dalagish, OM. 40 years. David Galston, OM. Diane Blanchard, OM. James Clark, OM. Roger Landell, OM. 45 years. Anna Chen, OM. Douglas Jones, OM. James Gill, OM. Jean Leckie, OM. Joan McIntosh, OM. Lori White, DM. Patricia McKay, DM. W. Douglas Mitchell, OM. 50 years. Barry Bain, OM. Joseph Smiley, OM. Maura Murray Hayes, OM. 55 years. David Reed, OM. 60 years. Arthur Hensher, OM. Ian Kirby Smith, OM. R. Brock Saunders, OM. Robert Sanch, OM. Roy Harwood, OM. Yu Kim, OM. 65 years. J. Cedric Arnold, OM. William Sparling, OM. Will McCade, OM. These ministers are celebrating an anniversary in the United Church of Canada, but have previously served in other denominations. We wish to acknowledge all of their years of ministry service. Lennox Scarlett, OM, 5 years service in the United Church of Canada. Ordained in the United Church of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands in April of 1995. Gary Von Bruckham, OM, 25 years service in the United Church. Ordained in the Presbyterian Church of Canada in May of 1979. Barry King, OM, 30 years of service in the United Church. Additionally served in the Anglican Church of Canada from 1990 until 1995. Roberta Pocklington, DM, 30 years of service in the United Church. Deaconess, Commissioned Presbyterian Church of Canada in May of 1960. With deep gratitude, we honor our retirees and Jubilands for their faithful service, unwavering commitment, and the many blessings they have shared through their ministry. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. It would be good. If you're here, can you stand to be recognized, please?
If your name was on any of those lists.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bless you. Is there any new business? No new business. Wendy, nothing new? No? I want to pause to thank a number of persons. I served over the last 2 years as the president of this region, and it was my absolute pleasure and delight. I came to this church from the United Church in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, freshly minted in the United Church of Canada, and entered into ministry. I served the executive for the last 2 years and was surrounded by inspirational individuals who gave me support. And a lot of what I was able to do, it was because we were able to do it together. And I say thank you. There are a number of persons who this is their last time, their last meeting as part of the executive. And I want to invite them to stand. Christina, this is your last time. Adrian, this is your last time. Thank you so much. I know, Sula Ann, this is your last time but will be your first time as. And we look forward to welcoming you and embracing you and supporting you in this new term, this new period of your journey as leader in this church. We look forward to that. Yes, clap is in order. I want to say a big thanks to Executive Minister Mark, whose steady hand and wisdom and his engaging way of ensuring that things get done, and say thank you to Mark for your work. And then that's it.
Let me speak for a minute first. I'll stand on my toes. If you have a telephone, either a cell phone or a landline in your home, you know there are calls you don't want to get. No one wants a call that wastes their time from a marketer soliciting you to purchase something. No one enjoys a call reminding us that we've forgotten to pay a bill or missed a deadline. There are some calls that are truly bad news phone calls, and we don't want those. And then there are other calls that come unexpectedly and ask something of us that we didn't know we were going to be asked to give. And so for that last category of call, I have learned over the past 2 years that when Lennox Scarlett calls, I look at my phone and say, ah! Because President Lennox Scarlett, my friend, believes that we, sitting here in this room, and those who are joining us online, and those who sit in our churches occasionally, can build the kingdom that Jesus Christ taught us about. President Lennox Scarlett believes that we can love enough, and we can feed people enough, and we can have fellowship enough, and we can seek justice enough, and we can be more together than we are apart. He believes this. And he has my phone number. President Lennox, I believe that Horseshoe Falls region is a better church for your leadership and service, and I know that I will be a better leader because of your patience, your love, your support, your kindness, your unyielding commitment to your faith, your stubbornness. Horseshoe Falls, please join me in thanking President Lennox Scarlett.
And she has my number.
I do.
Thank you. When I saw it, I thought it was a cell phone. I said, not another one. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for putting up with me over these 2 years. I think Sula will have another year with me on the executive, so thank you. Thank you. Mark, anything else that we need to? Closing motion. Wendy?
The work of the Regional Council continues between Regional Council meetings. What is the recommendation? To entrust any unfinished business from its June 14th, 2025 meeting to the Executive. Authorize the executive to fill any vacancies on the understanding that appointments will be confirmed at the next fall regional council meeting. Entrust the executive and commissions with responsibilities and authority of Horseshoe Falls Regional Council in accordance with the Manual of the United Church of Canada and the Governance Handbook of the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council. Close the June 14th, 2025 meeting of the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council at the close of the celebration of ministry service on Saturday, June 14th, 2025. That is the motion.
That motion is moved by Wendy. That is seconded. Callie, yes, Callie. Anything to lift out of this for discussion, for conversation? Nothing? All in favor? I'm not going to ask all against because I can't imagine any hand will go up on any against. Any against? Any abstention? The ayes have it. Thank you. But here is an invitation to come back at 4 o'clock for the celebration of ministry service. And I know we have just a few minutes to just stretch our legs, walk around, refresh ourselves, and come back. And please come back because we have some candidates to ordained, and we have to be ordained, and we have time to celebrate with them.
Before you do run off, just 2 quick housekeeping things. We will be having a rehearsal. So if you're going to be in the celebration of ministry service, please do not go too far. Please hang out around the front. If you are sitting in the first 3 rows, if you could please clear your stuff out, because we're going to have those reserved for family and then for others. So if you're sitting in the first 3 rows, please clear that out. Also, if you have not yet had enough to eat, there is more snacks and refreshments to try to entice you to stick around till 4 o'clock for the celebration of ministry service.